Hello, everyone. I want to bring up a couple updates. The most important one for right now is the utility battle we've been doing down in Bargersville for real estate property investors and owners. Uh, we have had an interesting set of events happen, but basically, over the past 4 or 5 months, we've been down in Bargersville meeting with their lawyers, meeting with the investment community, meeting with the town council members. And what's come out of that is that the town voluntarily agreed to amend the ordinance that was putting all this liability on landlords for their utility bills of their tenants. And we got some good results from that, but also some a lot of work needs to still be done. It's definitely not a perfect solution, but a civics lesson for all of us of what happens when we band together and show up and actually go to these town meetings and make our voices heard. It was really powerful, and I want to thank my client, Marcia Isbell, as well as others that were involved. There were so many supporters in the community that came out, and it really made a big difference. And I've kind of talked about that a little bit in the other videos, but I do want to mention it. Democracy works. It's slow and painful, and you got to really get out there and do your work. But it does work, and we got some good results on it, at least to mitigate the major problems. The two most important things in the ordinance is that the town made liability for the tenant and the landlord what we call joint and several. So the prior ordinance made the landlord responsible for all of the tenant's utility bills no matter what, which is completely, in my view, crazy, right? But not just saying as an advocate, but one property owner shouldn't be liable for somebody else's utility usages. I mean, that's just, if you use it, you ought to pay for it, type of a thing. So we did get that amended in the new ordinance. So the tenant does have legal liability, and that will help them to not just skate out of town and run up their utility bills and that kind of thing, because there is liability for them. But it really still doesn't go near far enough in our view. It still holds the owner liable for those bills, and we think that's problematic. The other thing that it did was it made it clear that the ordinance applies to all property owners, residential, commercial, industrial, doesn't matter what kind of property you own, this is going to hit you. So on the one hand, it's clear that it's going to affect all classes of property. On the negative side of that, if you own a commercial building, an industrial building, right, they use a lot of power, a lot of electricity, and your tenants could now be transferring that liability onto you as an owner, and you need to be really, really, really careful about your underwriting and your staying on top of those bills to be sure that the tenant's not getting behind. Because imagine an industrial property tenant, the tens of thousands of dollars per month that they could be spending on utility use, or even a small strip center or small retail center might have a tremendous amount of power going through it. So there's a lot of danger here, a lot of work to be done. Contact your local real estate investment association and maybe join the Indiana State RIA. That'd be another way to get involved. They're leading the fight on the legislative level, and we're involved there. So good news, democracy in action. It works. We got some concessions that are helpful. Bad news, not near enough for really what I consider what's right under the circumstances, but we've got some good results there, and we're happy about that for our client. Thank you.